So in the last session we discussed about how to create the application, and we created one application. Now we will see how to add the requirements. So DCO is nothing but director capture objectives. It's not a rule, it's a methodology to manage the project basically. So what Pega says, once you create the application, so we need to connect a couple of sessions with the stakeholders, including project manager, your client, your subject matter experts, and some other people. We need to decide what we need to build in the iterations. So as I said, we need to follow Pega, Agile methodology in each and every iteration to decide in this iteration what we need to build. So because requirements will not be gathered for entire project, requirements will be gathered only for that particular iteration. So for the 2 weeks. So once the 2 weeks is over, then so we'll develop that one, we'll test it, and we'll deploy it. And then next week we'll plan it one more meeting before the starting of the sprint or iteration, and then we'll decide what we need to build for the next sprint. So like that, DCO is a methodology to manage the project. It's not like a rule. So in the discussion will come up some requirements, and then we'll add those, how to add those requirements in the system.
So how suppose they say we supposed to build a new workflow, is kind of a new workflow means we have to build it from the scratch, right?
Okay.
So that case it may take minimum 3 months duration. So then how will they go for the sprint methodology, or else they will go for the 3 months Scrum kind of methodologies?
3 months. I mean, if you are saying for one building just a workflow.
Yeah.
So divide based on the functionalities. Let's say your requirement is very big, then so the requirement is a business requirement. So business requirement will be very at a high level, very abstract. You will simply say, I want to do the payment by credit card. So how you are doing, what you need, what type of credit card you need. So you need that will come out technical requirements. So here we are referring requirements is a business requirements. So business requirement will be very high level. So adding specifications, these requirements will be converted into technical requirements. This is nothing but a specification.
Okay.
So we will take that specification and then we will add the storage. We will add the storage to the sprint. So based on the complexity of the thing, you will take that one. We'll go ahead. It's not like even if it is take 3 months, we don't take that one in one sprint. We'll one by one feature we will build that, and then it will take minimum 3 months same time.
Okay, that means so we will give so every 2 weeks or 3 weeks deliverable, short-term deliverables to the customer,
exactly.
even big projects also.
It's not like customer. If customer wants, we can deliver it, but at least customer can see the deliverables. Can see the deliverables at the end of the sprint.
Okay, all sprint deliverables will be deployed into production also?
No, that's what. So customer don't want to deploy for every week. If they want, even that they can take it, but generally it won't happen.
Okay, got it. Okay, it may go to the customer as a demo or something like that.
Yes, I mean for every week, at the end of the week, you can give the output of that one. So what you have achieved so far.
Got it.
Give me a second. So this is the application we created. So once the application is created, then you need to go to, if you want to see the application profile, so you can go to application menu. This is the application menu, and then click on open overview. So this is the place where the project manager will spend most of his time. So application overview will contain all the application details, including what we have given at the time of creating an application, like what are the cases we kept, what are the cases we are including, and what is the description, what are the business objectives. And then if you see in the right hand side, you can see the requirements, specifications, assumptions. What are the assumptions? If you want to attach anything, you can attach it. Actors is nothing but who is involving in the actual application processing. It's not like project processing. It's like application processing. In the warranty management, who will be the actor, the end user, who will be the end users? We will name them like that, right? So user, customer, or a verifier, processor, something like that. So we name that people. So who are the actors involving here, and participants. This is the in this project, what type of participants who will be there here, like project manager, subject matter expert. Already eight people are there here, so you can remove them or you can add it here. And then what is the methodology you are following? You are following Scrum methodology here, so you can add it here. First we will see, so in the discussions, the DCO discussion, director capture objective discussions, will subject matter experts will be there. So definitely in that meeting we need subject matter experts. So otherwise, because this is a business related meetings, so we need subject matter experts so that they can give. So in the warranty management application, we are saying we need to build a climb process. How a customer will climb the warranty, and then how we can proceed. So if I don't know what generally happens in the warranty claim, so we cannot define a robust process. So for that we need subject matter experts or domain experts, we call it. In general we call them as SME, subject matter experts. We need that in the meetings so that they can guide us how we want to shape the application. So based on their inputs, so for every end of the meeting, so we'll have some requirements. We need to add that.
What about collaborators here? Collaborators, participants I understood, actors I understood, but what about collaborators? When that
collaborators is kind of who is involving in the project. I mean, it's in the project, in the application management. So who is actually involving? What type of people are involving? You can mention the collaborators. Let's open this. You can see. So we have three collaborators here. So one is users, managers, administrators so far. So what type of collaborators in this application we have? So those are called, so basically these are called access groups. We have discussed what is the access group. So collaborators nothing but who is actually involving in the application. So these are the people so far who is involving. So a list of all access group operators within those access group that is current operation. So all the people who is involving in this application, this is not a project management. In the application processing, who is actually involving? So those kind of people will be seen here. So by default, system will create 3 user access groups. So by default, this will be there. And in each access group, one operator will be there: user, manager, administrator. So if you add one more access group or one more operator, so those will be listed here. These people will call as collaborators. So now we will see how to in the discussions, or once dissociation is over. So we need to know how to add the requirements. So this is the landing page for the requirements. You can come to this point in 2 ways. One is opening the application overview. Open the overview. You can do like this, or else you can go to Designer Studio, application profile, requirements. So both will go to same landing page. This is also requirement landing page. This is also requirement landing page, we call it. So either way you can go, and here you can see create. So this is the landing page because we can manage all the requirements here. We can delete the requirement, we can update the requirement, we can add the requirements. So whatever we want to do, we can do it here. So let's click on create requirements. So let's say I want, one of the requirement is I want to capture the customer requirements. So let's say that is simple requirement. I will say for one requirement, so the process will be same. So here customer is saying capture customer. So here you can use chart description for that. Collect customer information. Here we don't give any full details, or this will be very high level or abstract, I can say, at the business level. So they will say as a business, I would like to see customer details. Who is interested charging the claim. So this is the statement they will give, and for this if you have any wireframes how it should be, or else whatever you want to achieve for this, you can also do attachments here. So this is the basic requirement here. So how much, what is the importance of this one? So is this very much important or critical, or what is the importance of this one? You can select here. So if you don't want to select also, it is fine. So status, so by default generally it will be new status only. So once it is done, you can make them as completed, just as tracking purpose. So in general, what happens if you see the normal method or normal project, so what we will handle this, all these things in a separate tool. So creating the generally the people will handle this in the Excel sheets. So they will add the requirements in the Excel sheet and then they will track there itself. But in Pega we don't need, some people will use some external tools to manage the project. But here we don't need to use any external tools. So it's a complete end-to-end product where we can add the requirement, from the adding the requirements to the delivering part, all will be done in the same system. So you can make a status as a new, and later when you complete it you can make it as completed. And meanwhile if you want to make it progress in progress, so I mean based on the status of this requirement you can make according to the status. And then so these are straightforward. What is the iteration one, release, external requirement ID, or we have a requirement ID for this, you can also attach this one. And this requirement is also basically a rule. So it's not like just keeping it here. So this requirement will be documented. So it's a documented, and moreover whenever you take the wrap, requirements will also be taken care of. So when you deploy it, requirements also will go. So it's a permanent, it's a system of record. So whatever you are doing here is a system of record. Requirements won't go anywhere. It's tightly coupled with application. But in other applications, once the application is over, so the Excel sheet or some people, what people will do, they will generally place in a shared folder. So to access, I mean it's a team of 8 people. If I want to access the requirements, they will place some requirement document in the shared folder and people will access it. Right? That is what generally happens. But here it's part of the application. So anybody who can log into application can see the requirements, and when we deploy the system application also, the requirements will be there. It's a system of record. It won't go anywhere. So let's add the requirement. Once you add the requirement, but here we are giving very high level details. I'm just saying collect customer information. So once like this, we will add the customer, client requirements at a high level here, and then this requirement. This is, I mean, if you ask the developer, so he cannot know by seeing this. He don't know what type of information he need to collect. So it's very abstract for the developers. So because of this reason, what people will do is there will be we call them BPDs, business process developers. Or else it can be done by a lead system architect who knows the business as well as technical details of Pega. So I mean, he don't need to know a full details of Pega, but he should know the capabilities of Pega so that he can create the technical requirements, which is nothing but a specification. So I have the business requirement, then I need to convert them into technical requirements, which is nothing but a specification. So now go to specification. So we need to add the specification here. For that requirement, I need to add the specification. And here, for one requirement, there can be only one specification, or else there can be multiple specifications. It depends on the complexity of the requirement. So, I mean, most of the times we will tell that go for as small as specification, so that it's easy for the implementation purpose. So if we build multiple complex technical requirement also, so tracking will be difficult. So what Pega recommends is, so go for as much possible, as smaller as possible, so that it is easy for the developers as well to implement piece by piece. So for this, so because it's a straightforward requirement, then we can directly go ahead. It's a one-to-one mapping here. So you can also do requirement to one requirement to one specification, or you can go for one requirement to many specifications. So here also you can add these specifications, the name of the specifications, collect customer basic information. And then here this is the standard description, this is the actual role name. So here this is also a role. Status is new, selected, human basis type, release, iteration, everything is fine. And then here I want, as a user, I want to collect the following customer information. Customer first name. This technical requirements will be very specific. It should be very. I mean, when a developer sees this technical requirement or specification, they should get what they need to build in the application. The required. So that much little details you need to mention here. Last name. So this DCO concept is only required if you want to follow this. Otherwise, I mean, if you want to follow old convention like keeping the requirements in the Excel sheet, and generally requirements will be done by Onsite or somewhere, and they'll just share the Excel sheet. So if that is the case, we don't want to follow this. You don't need to maintain all this one. But Pega have those capabilities.
Okay. So requirement generally is gathered and published by business analyst, right?
Yes, it's not part of developer, so that is why developer won't be involved here. So only technical lead will be involved in even here.
Who is that? Tech lead.
Technical lead.
Okay, that is only for just understanding the requirements along with
Yes.
other stakeholders, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And then for this specification, if you have any attachments, you can also add attachments. It may be like I mean, it may be documents, screenshots, anything may be there. You can also attach it here.
Okay. So if they go for the DCO process, then okay, daily basis do we need to update the progress in the specifications?
Pardon?
Daily basis do we need to update the progress of the development?
Yes, that is not daily basis, or once in 2 days, once in 3 days you can update, or once in a sprint also you can update. It's up to their flexibility.
Okay.
So here, these specifications we don't need to complete basically. So I mean, so we can easily, let's say this is the requirement. The beauty of handling DCO here is, if you maintain, let's say, if you maintain this, let's say I want to collect customer basic information. If you maintain this information external spreadsheet, so if I want to track it, whether it's completed or not, what is the mechanism to follow is they can manually go and verify. They need to run the application and they need to see whether it is completed or not. Then they will make it completed in general. But here, by following the DCO, the capabilities are, so these specifications we can attach to implementation rules. So when building the application, we will attach the specification while actually implementing the workflows. So wherever it is applicable. When we attach this, when you attach means when you make a reference of this specification, you can see the symbol is there. The symbol will be highlighted. So system will automatically track it. Whenever this one is associated in one of the implementations, then this will be automatically highlighted. So this means that this particular specification is completed, is implemented. When you click this, we'll come to that point anyway. It's not like just highlighting, it will show you where it is implemented. Where it is implemented. So for each technical requirement, it should be highlighted. That means that it is implemented. And then once it is implemented, we can, it's not like just highlighting here, we can verify that going through that rule. So it will list down all the rules and it will show you where it is implemented, what is the rule set, what is the rule type, everything will be displayed here. For this implementation, I mean, we may rule many rules, so you can specify this wherever it is applicable, and all the rules will be displayed here. And then by seeing this, once the project manager or tech lead is happy with this implementation, he can make it completed. That's what. So it is easy. You can run it by the application, or you can also check directly where it is implemented as well. How it is implemented, you can everything will be tracked. That is the use of this one here. But if you go outside of this Pega application, so what happens? I mean, you can manually verify. So then, but it will be somewhat difficult tracking there. You can run the application, you can verify that, like that, but we cannot know where it is implemented, how it is implemented. So if you want to know that, you need to follow the DCO methodologies here. So this is how we need to add the requirements, and then how we need to convert the specifications. Once that is done, then
analysis. What about analysis tab?
Analysis.
What about analysis tab? There is the analysis tab, right?
No, this is not come under this DCO. This is different. So analysis is kind of what we say, what type of specifications by case type, case by status. I mean, just like a reporting purpose.
Okay.
We don't add it here anything. You can see here specifically if you have multiple cases, your cases are there, right? So how many specifications are there cases? We have only one case. And how many it's just like helping the project manager to what we call to know the status of complete application or the project.
Okay.
It's not part of adding anything here. Just like we can see the details here. We cannot do anything here. And then we need to concentrate on application building. So we have a case here. So we need to add the features for this case. So case is nothing but a one of the work unit, a unit of work that is being performed in the application. So in one application, you may be doing multiple functionalities. So if you are doing multiple functionalities, and each functionality have a life cycle, each functionality have its own life cycle, you can go for a stage. You can go for a stage, and then you can go for a case. So each case should be having a complete life cycle. So we need to see how this life cycle can be extended, how this can be taken care. So first thing we need to do here is when the case is added, we need to see. So let's take an example. So you want to open, let's say, if you take a banking scenarios, opening an account is one of the unit of work or a functionality they will do. Opening an account. For opening an account, you will go for generally what is the process we follow, because this generic process, everybody will go to bank, they fill the details. That means that the bank is capturing the details. The bank is capturing your details, and then they will verify your details in the background. Some companies will do background verification, and then Once everything is fine, they will also verify your minimum balance as is paid or not, and then they will also dispatch the artifacts. So that is a simple process for opening an account. If you take a loan, applying for a loan, and there it has its own life cycle. Like customer will apply for a loan, it will go for processor. Processor will do the process, first level initial processing of the application. If you have any abnormalities in the application data, if everything is fine, sometimes it will go for second level processor, and there from there it will go for manager, and then it will go for approver. It's like that. Different stages are involved in different scenarios. So in the opening an account, let's see first. And generally what we call them here, we are giving some generic name further. So collecting information. So in the opening an account, for the first thing they are doing is collecting information. Once they collect the information, they are verifying it. They are actually verifying it. Verify. And then once verification is done, they are dispatch some artifacts or whatever it's required. So here I am saying generic requirement, generic names I am giving here. So these are called stages. A stage represents, if this is a case, what are the names you are giving here? These are called stages. So the name stage is given in generic sense. Let's say you attended for the interview. So when you attended for the interview, your people will ask, your friends may ask, what is the status of your interview? Status, the questions may be like this: status of your interview or loan. So you can take anything here. Or else the question may be like this: in which phase you are in? Which phase you are in? You are in the interview process or loan process. So the answer for these questions is basically you will give the stage name. So if you ask an interview or a loan process, I will say, let's take a loan example. Let's take a interview process. Anyway, we need to handle that, right? So in the interview also they will first collect the information, right? What type of information we are not discussing that one now. So they will collect the information, and then they will go for verification again. Here also they will do verification, and then once everything is fine, they will do interview, and then they will take the decision whether you are selected or not, and then when the decision is over, they will wrap up the course, or they will we can go for basically after decision you can also discuss about compensation, and then they will wrap up. So this is the generic process we follow. I mean, you can also tweak it if required. So because Pega is flexible, if you want to add new stages, if you want to add new things, you can add it here. But if you in overall, if you see here, the answer for these questions, if you ask where are you in interview process, you will say I am under verification. The interview, the verification is going on, or interview is going on, or decision is pending, or discussing about compensation, or the interview is over. So if you see here, we are actually giving the answer as the stages. A stage represents a milestone in the case process. So we need to identify the stages. So stage represents a milestone in the work process. A milestone means is kind of a complete functionality or something like that, we can say. Or what is the status of your application, you can say. So you can say the status as well, like it's a pending decision, it's a pending of the decision, verification pending, interview over. So you can give sometimes the status of the application. Even for the status also, you try to give the name of the, indirectly will give the name of the stage on. Yes, generally, in general also we'll use this term as a phase. A phase is nothing but a stage. A phase represents a stage. So how can we determine the stages in the case? So if this is generic, because this is generic interview and opening account generic requirements, we can identify the cases, we get stages. But if it is, if the domain is new for me, I cannot guess what is the exact process or exact stages required for that case. So in that scenario, we need that is where the subject matter experts will be involved. They will decide. The subject matter experts as well as the clients and all the stakeholders will be there. That's what I said, until 20% of the initial development. So everybody will be involved to make it that process complete. So they will, it's a collective decision what type of stages we require in the case management in this case. So in the warranty also we need to come up in the same way. So so the guidelines generally here is it's up to, again there won't be any hardcoded rules for that. So in which scenario we can go for stage, but in generic wherever there is a change of ownership. So here one person is involved. This is here, let's say the CSR may be involved or else HR department may be involved. But verification will be done by some other person, an interview done by some other person. So wherever there is a change of ownership, so the ownership is changing from one person to other person. So in that case you can make a stage. Or else if there is a change in the status, if there is a major change in the status, not like for a month changes, if there is a major change in the status of the application or a case, you can make that as a stage. Or else if you want to club a kind of actions, so you have a similar kind of actions and you want to club them and you want to group them, then in that case also you can group them, you can give a generic name for that. So these are the generic guidelines while identifying the stages. So for identifying these things we need definitely subject matter experts. So if you ask me what is the patent process, I don't know, because I don't know how patent will happen, patent work will happen. That is part of the healthcare department. How healthcare, if I don't work in the healthcare department, I cannot know what is the patent process. So that is where we need the industry experts. So because industry experts knows what is the business, how business will happen, so that we can easily build the stages. So while identifying the stages, all the stakeholders will be involved and it's a collective decision while naming the stages. So for the claim, so they identify like this. Let's say the discussions they can identify these stages. One second. And if you see here, we are identifying the stages, but we are not. They were just giving common name. Just a stage. We are not going for in-depth level of what exactly we are doing in the stage. That will come under different topic called step. That at the time we will see. But now we need to see how to identify the stages. So the claim process, if you see. So let's take an example of customer. Let's Flipkart or something. So you buy the product. So this generic process we can easily visualize and we can identify what are the different stages we need. When you buy the product, so if there is a defect in the product, what we will do, the first thing we will do here is we will call up the customer care. That is the first thing we will do. Who will receive the call? The CSR will receive the call, customer care representative will receive the call, and they will capture your details. They will capture the details. The process will start from there. You call up the customer care and they will receive the details. So they will ask your customer your details, like customer details. They may ask your product details as well. So once they receive your details, what they will do, they will send it to our corresponding department. Definitely once you say I have the defect in the product, nobody will give the replacement. So internally some process should happen. So what is the process generally will happen? So internally they will do a warranty verification. So you give product details and then they will review the product information and they will also ask your proof of purchase, invoice. You need to have proof of purchase, otherwise your warranty will not be valid. That is why purchase invoice is required for that. In the invoice, all the product details will be there. So based on that, they will decide whether warranty is available or not. So why invoice is required here is, let's say when you buy a product in Flipkart or Amazon, the standard warranty will come. Along with that, by paying some extra amount, they will also give some extended warranty. If you see, they will say somewhere you can see, so the product information, product amount will be there, but on the bottom or somewhere you can see, if you pay 100 rupees extra, the warranty will be 1 more year. That is called extended warranty. So the actual standard warranty will be come with the product, but by paying the extra amount, you are getting some additional warranty or extended warranty. So those kind of details will be there in the invoice. Those will be tracked in the invoice, so that by seeing the invoice, the processor or a warranty who is verifying the warranty, they will come to know whether warranty is there or not. Let's assume warranty is there. So there are two scenarios here. The warranty is there or warranty is not there. So your already warranty is expired. Let's say your warranty is 1 year. So you are raising the request after 1 year. Then there is no warranty. Or below 1 year if you raise the request, you can come under warranty verification. So your warranty is valid. So here the decision is making whether warranty is required or not. And sometimes what happens is, even if there is a warranty, sometimes we need to get the approval from the manager. It's not like the employee can directly approve a replacement. So it depends on the company strategy. Sometimes the company may decide, if the price of the item is more than 200 or $2, if you say $2,000, I want to get the manager approval. So if the price is less than, we can directly approve. As a processor, he can directly go for the replacement or whatever you want to do. You can go for the process. But the price is very high, which impacts the company revenue. So definitely at that time we need to involve the high level people. So that is why the business will decide when the direct employee can approve the warranty, or where we need the requirements. So here let's assume for more than $2,000, if the price of this product is more than $2,000, so I want to get the manager approval. So once the manager is approved, I can go proceed. Otherwise, I cannot go proceed. And then let's say everything is going happy, and then warranty is there. So who will be involved then? So now the customer care, the company will call up the technician. So you are claiming you have a product, you have an issue with the product, and they need to verify it. It's a flexible issue, or else it's a normal issue. So who will verify that? So for that we need a technician who is expert in that area. So if you are claiming for AC, so we need expert in the AC. If you are rising for mobiles, we need expert in the we need a technician who is expert in the mobile devices. So we need to schedule the appointments with the experts. So what company will do? The company will schedule the appointment at a particular time. They will for the inspection. So for that reason, they will ask for your return of the product. Once you raise the claim, somehow they will ask you, so please return the product for verification, technical inspection, or else sometimes they may also come if it's very big, or if it is it's not like carryable thing to go ahead. So it's flexibility, like based on the size of the product, they may come to your house, or else you need to give your product. But at any cost, inspection will happen. The technician will come to your house, raise a request, and then they will inspect your product, and then they will actually decide whether the issue is fixable. So the technician will decide whether the issue is fixable or it's not fixable. So if the issue is fixable, no issue, they will fix it. If the issue is not fixable, then they need to go for replacement of a product. So he will decide, technician will give his feedback whether the issue is fixed or else the replacement is required. Then when you go for replacement, the issue is fixed, no issues, we can close the case itself there itself, because the issue is fixed. If it is not a fixable issue, then you need to go for replacement. You need to go for replacement. While going for replacement again, so there are, you can extend this case to many levels. When you go for replacement again, you can check whether the product is available in the inventory, or else you need to go for, you need to ask for some external clients. You can go for like that, so you can extend it anywhere. So that's again a purchase order application. So whether it's in inventory or to extend it for some other clients, you need to ask those things. But here we are taking directly, so the products are available with us. We can select the replacement product. So what is the replacement product? For that we can replace it and then we will deliver to the customer. So that is the whole thing of the claiming process generally happens in the industry. So how can we handle that one in the Pega? We will see. So out of these discussions, we will come to know what type of information, what is the functionality we are doing here. So first we are once you customer call up the customer care, they will call, they are actually taking your information. That is nothing but a collecting information or data entry, whatever name you can give. So the naming, so generally while giving the naming for these stages, you need to follow the noun or a gerund kind of thing. So it should be noun plus, generally should be noun or a gerund. So collecting, that is fine. Collecting is a gerund word. Say ing form. So you need to follow the noun plus gerund form naming convention while giving the name for the stage. It's just like a noun. Okay, and then once they collect your information, the processing will start. Processing will start. So here the thing here is, let's say in the same, you bought two products, and then one is mobile. Let's say one is AC. One is mobile, one is AC. So the process will be same, but the products are different here. The process, the claiming process is same, but the products are different. In that case, what we need to do? So for each and every product, we need to create a sub process or a sub case. So this is generic claim, the main claim. In the claim, based on the number of products you are adding to the claim. So you may add only one product, you may add two products. So the number of products you are adding to the claim in the processing stage will actually create a number of stages. Let's say you are raising a claim for two products. Whatever discussing, the process is same for each and every product. That means that each and every product will follow the same steps. For mobile, the same thing will happen. For AC also same thing happen, but the technician will differ, right? So that is why here we'll create a sub cases. Sub case also will be involved here. Product claim here. Let's say the naming for this product claim. So the product claim also has its own life cycle again. As I said, every product will be having its own warranty things. So once you raise the things here, and then they need to, and then first thing they will do, once you raise a request for the warranty through customer care, so first thing they will do is warranty verification. Warranty verification. In the warranty verification, all the actions will be taken, like taking your proof of purchase, validating, taking approval, everything will be taken care in the warranty verification, and then to start technical inspection. Technical inspection. So once the technical inspection is over, like you give the feedback, then you can go for replacement. So this is the generic methodology. So even in the warranty verification, in the claim, so the answers for your questions, if somebody asks what is the status of that one, you will say it's under technical inspection, the warranty is pending, the replacement is happening. So most of the times we will be doing the name of the stages as the answer. The stage represents a phase, or generally we call them what is the current phase of your application. So the phase in the general represents a stage. So Pega is using the terminology is business people will use the terminology, because it's a BPM product, the main concentration will be on business users. So whatever the business users generally use, Pega also want to use the same terminology so that they can easily connect to the product. They can easily visualize here. So once we identify these stages, Once we identify the stages, this is giving the generic name for this, and moreover, this is not a rule. Stage is not a rule; it just represents the phase or a stage. I mean, actually, the milestone of the case. Then where are we doing the actual actions? So this is generic name, and this is just like a normal text. And when I'm saying collecting information, so I didn't. I'm not saying, I'm not mentioning here what type of information I'm collecting. They need. So that is nothing but a step. So these are the stages. Let's say this is the case name. Case is climb. So this is the stages. These are the stages. Now once we identify the stages for each and every case, we need to actually see actual actions. The actual action represents a step. A step represents, so the step represents, you need to remember the terminology. In the case management terminology, so stage and step is the term we need to remember. Step is a task or individual action or action we are taking. So we are performing multiple tasks in this collect information. So what are the tasks? So what is the actual action we are doing? So you need to mention as a step. So this is the naming for step also is kind of verb. It's kind of verb. So it should start with verb like enter information or collect information. Collect customer information. Anything is fine. And then once they collect customer information, they will also collect product information. So here you will add number of products, right? So you will add number of products while collecting information, product information. It may be one product, it may be multiple products. If it is one product, one subcase will be created. If it is multiple products, multiple subcase will be created. So as part of processing, we just automate this step like creating the, and moreover, this is the main case and then this is the subcases. The main case will wait until all the subcases are completed. When all the subcases are completed, then only we can say climb is completed. So that means that we need to wait. We need to wait here for all the spin-off subcases. Wait for subcases here. So if it is, you're creating a subcase, so you need to, the main case should wait until all the subcases are completed. So it will wait here. Once it is done, once the subcases are completed, sorry, it should go on top. So once subcases are created, until it reaches to completed status, it will wait here. The main case won't be complete. It will wait until all the subcases are completed, then the main case will be resolved or completed, we can say. So here coming to product claim, so in the warranty verification, what are the actions we will do? So first they will review the product information, review product info, and they will also attach, you need to attach your invoice, attach invoice, and then you need to validate the warranty. So here they will collect the, will give purchase date and warranty information, and then based on that we will validate the warranty, whether validate is there or not. So sometimes, as I said, we need the approved warranty. So this is only for the price is more than 200, we can conditionally make this one. So the warranty verification, we are doing all these actions. So and then the technical inspection, once the warranty is completed, if it is under warranty, then we need to schedule appointment with them. Schedule appointment. And then, so let's say if the appointment is tomorrow, we need to wait for the appointment until to that point. So the case will wait. We mean the case will wait until that point. Wait for appointment. And then why we are waiting here is, so until the actual time reaches, he should not get the screen. So let's say my screen is, let's say my appointment is 27th. The technician logs into the system Okay, and if you open the case, if he is not waiting for appointment, what will happen? He can directly see the screen. He can directly see the process feedback screen. So let's say here giving the feedback here. So I don't want to see the technique. I don't want to see the technician to see the technical feedback form. The form will be displayed there. Whether what is the comments you want to give, that should be displayed only at the time of technique. Whatever the scheduled time I have given for you, appointment is given for you. Only at that time only. After that only, the screen will be displayed. So even if you log in and even if you open the case, you cannot get the screen. So you need to wait that point. So whatever, that is why we have to wait the case until that point, and then we'll go for automatically here. So once the process feedback is given, then if the issue is fixed, no issues, the claim process will stop here itself, and if replacement is required, we'll go to this step. Right? Replace. Select replace product. Replace product. And then basically here you can add one more product here for technical inspection before replacing. So we actually sometimes they can ask for return the product, sometimes they won't ask. It depends on the company status again. So or else it's the product the size or this type of product depends on that. So if that is required, you can also add that one as a step. So some people ask for the return the existing product. If returning is existed, you can add one more step. You can track it whether the product is received or not. Once the product is received, you can add that one. So return product or check return product. Check product return, something like that you can keep. If that is required, you can add it, otherwise. And moreover, we can do this one based on the while giving the product the information itself will having this one. So whether we need a product return is required or not. So based on that, we can execute this one, and then we can go for replace. You can select the replacement product and then delivery. Deliver to customer. And deliver to customer. And then finally complete or resolve. In the resolve, we can notify the customer and we can doing those things. And here if you see, all these are happy path. Like until the replacement is a happy path. So everything is going, everything is accepted and is going here. There is no exception here. And there are scenarios where we are deviating from the actual primary path. This is called primary stages. Whatever you are adding here, these are called primary stages. And nothing but in general we call them happy path. But there are some business exceptions will happen. When I say exception, is a business exception, not a technical exception. So what is the exception here? The exception here is the warranty may be rejected due to the reason like your warranty is expired, or the warranty is fixed. I mean here you can see the warranty also may be fixed. I mean that the one not warranty. Your defect may be fixed. So there are multiple things here. So wherever we are deviating from the normal path, that is called the alternate stage. So we can define alternate stages to handle business exceptions. So one of the business exception here is alternate stage. So here warranty rejected. So if something is rejected, we can notify the customer. Here there is a stage name and we can notify rejection. We can send the mail to the customer saying that this is your product rejected. And then everything is happy here. Here in the claim process, you can withdraw the product, you can withdraw the claim as well. So withdraw maybe something like the main case, withdraw is a notify withdraw. So these are the alternate stages. So in the case of interview, here also the here this is wrap up when will happen? It is only in the case of successful. Whether the candidate is selected, then only those candidates will go for last step. So in the verification process, some candidates may be rejected. The interview process also, during decision also, some candidates may be rejected. So here also alternate stage is rejection. So and then you can notify the rejection to the candidate. So this is how, so until this point, while identifying the stages and the steps, the stakeholders will be involved and we will identify the stages and steps like this. And we need to replicate the same thing in the system. So now go to the system and then first add the stage. So when you click the stage, let's say, when you click the stage, whatever the screen is coming, this is called case designer. So this is called, all this is called case designer. So this entire thing is called case designer. So remove the type. This is called case management. By using case management capabilities, we are building this case. We are building one unit of work. So in that, when you click the case, whatever the screen is coming is called case designer. So in the case designer, so you can see it's very straightforward. Doing in package is very straightforward. So you can see stage. You can just enter the stage names. First is correct information. First I will add the stages, and then next we are doing processing, and then we are creating a sub case, right? So if you want to get one more case during the processing of, while doing this one, I am saying like we need a sub case. If you want to add the sub case, you can right click on the case name, existing case name, and add a child case type. You can see add a child case type. You can add it here. So it is also new case type. This is not the existing one. So you need to mention this is a product claim. That is a main claim. This is a product claim. I am naming it as a product claim. So click next. While creating the case itself, you can create the stages, but later we will do anyway. So click finish. So by default, system will add these stages.
Subhash, without creating from the existing case type, is there any way to link the sub case with the primary case?
I'm not getting your point. Without creating any sub case means?
So right now we created the sub case from the existing case, right? Right click on that and we added as a child case.
I selected new case type, not existing case type. There are no existing case types.
No, my case. No, my question is so. 1 minute. Hello.
Yeah.
Hey, Subhash, my question is so. So here the navigation is so we selected the existing case and right clicked on that and created a new sub case, right?
Yes.
So suppose another case is already available. We wanted to add that suppose B case to A case as a sub case.
Yeah, correct.
So that time how could we
do that one? So by just click on it, say it's doing the same thing, add a child case type and existing case type.
Oh.
So display all existing case types.
Okay.
We have one more case like this. Let's say some temporary case is available. So if you want to add this temporary case, you have to add a child to the client. So you can here go to add a child case type, select add existing case type. Here you can see temporary case is coming.
Okay, got it.
And you can like that, you can add it. And then in the product claim, we need to mention all these things.
So the step configuration also can be linked to a sub case with the parent case.
No, that we will discuss. Let me add this warrant verification. And then technical inspection. Then product replacement. So now, tell me what is your question, you're saying?
So can we link the sub case to the parent case to the step configuration also?
Sub case to parent case steps you are saying. These steps you are saying.
Using the step configuration.
Okay. Do you want to add this main case step to sub case? That's what you are asking?
No, not sub case. Sub case can we add with the parent case through step configuration?
Yes, we can do. That's what we are going to do now. So that's what we added here. So this step only. This is the step. As part of the step, we are creating a sub case. Okay. So that the configuration we will do tomorrow. Okay. So right now we discussed that one, and tomorrow we'll add the steps, and then we will see like what are the stage configurations first. What are the different configurations we have for the stage, and then we'll see what are the different configurations we have for the steps.
And
okay.
Yes, Subhash, could you please share the diary notes to me?
Yesterday I showed it. Did you get the email?
I don't think so. I'll double check it.
I shared it. So can you check once?
Okay. What is your email ID?
So it will come from Pega PRPC test user, BPM test, something like they will get.
Okay, I'll check it out and let you know status tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
And one more question I have generally, without case creation, so directly can we go for the screens creation and give it to the user?
Screen creation?
Yeah. Can we create a screens without cases also in the Pega?
Case is nothing but just like a we can without case we can do the same things. We can manually also can do, but using case management, the development will be faster. That is the only use of the case type. In Pega 5 and Pega 6 versions, we don't have case management. But still they can manage it. They have the same things. But here, internally, we don't know what is happening internally. But directly, because it is easy for the business users. So if we talk about technical details, they cannot involve. They may not know what is a stage. I mean, they may not know what is a step, what is a flow rule, we have different rules. They may not know all these things. But when we're discussing about stages and steps, so business people can easily involve, they can understand what is happening here. That is the main intention of using case management. So you can also do manually as well. You can whatever you are doing here internally, every configuration we are doing from the case management perspective will affect background in some roles. So you can manually do the same thing without case management also, but that will take extra time. Anyway, we will be seeing both the things, using case management on how to do the things manually as well.
Yeah, why I'm asking, in which perspective I'm asking this question is, suppose sometimes users will, for CSRs, we have to provide the, front-end application kind of thing. Okay. Suppose if they selected the account related things, maybe account workflow will have to create it. If they select a loan related thing, loan application need to be submitted. Correct. So in that case, first we have to provide the screen to the CSR. After that, so based upon their request, workflow will be triggered.
Okay, so we can provide the screens as well. So it's not like we can tightly couple here. So we can manually also, that we will see anyway discussing about sections. Section is part of how when designing the UI, we will see that one.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Okay. Thank you so much, Subhash.